What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Tokyo Ravens episode 9, and holy crap, what a freaking good episode. So it starts off with that demon that they had captured in the last episode. It's now going into what they called a phase 4, and we just see that it's like this massive pink blob, and clearly it's like changing, and it's actually trying to break out, which we see later on. But the other demon who was like running amok in a previous episode, that one actually escaped. And so Jinichiro was actually gonna chase after it, and we see that his bike was like working on his own. And at first, that right there, it really confused me, because how in the world could a motorcycle or a bike like that operate by itself? But now Natsume, who was first told to stay back, she actually goes with him because they still need her dragon to like lure it out. So now it's them chasing after that demon, and of course Hokuto is there as well. But then we see Harutora. He was like running around and he was so out of breath, and even Kon was like asking if he wanted her to like fly with him. And I thought that right there, would have been pretty cool to see. But of course, by her being so small and carrying Harutora, then that right there would have exhausted her when they would like need her the most. So now that they're about to meet up, we actually learned that Jinichiro's bike is actually a familiar, which to me kind of confused me, because I didn't think that something like that could be familiar. But it has the power to have like these mini Raven priests. So like think of the bike as like basically a mother familiar, and she can produce these offsprings which Jinichiro could control as well. And it worked pretty cool to see how he used them, because at one point they all became like these beams of light, and they charged into the demon, and it was like they had him because he was falling, but it was only a feint because it quickly recovered and ran off. But just when they were going to continue chasing it, Harutora and Kon appeared, and out of nowhere this talisman was thrown, and it made this explosion. Now I was kind of worried because it looked like it happened right on Harutora, and I thought that maybe he could be in trouble. But it seemed to happen, right between them both, so nobody got hurt. But it was because of Chihiro, or Mutobe. He's the one that had appeared. And he even summoned this wolf, like this gigantic wolf actually, which looked pretty freaking cool. Now I was hoping to see his fight between Jinichiro, because I want to see more of Jinichiro's skill. But sadly, they had skipped their entire fight. So that right there was definitely, one complaint I had, because I would have loved to see how their fight would have went. But now that they were chasing this demon into the city, Kon, who I felt so bad for, because every time she would get close to attack, the demon would just like flicker off like she was a little bug. But then we have Toji, who actually recovered, and the principal actually had this amazing idea, which I've been saying this entire time, and I'm surprised that Toji never thought of this before, like to control the ogre, rather than simply repressing it, keeping it at bay, because he could be a major threat and such a powerhouse if he took the power of this ogre. Which to me, it would make so sense for his character, because he needs something. Like Harutora has a staff and Kon, Natsume has all these spells and a freaking dragon, and then we even have what's her name? Koyoko. Even she has her 2 armor familiars, so Toji definitely needs something for his character, which I am so glad that he got. So now that now it's definitely gonna be confirmed that he's gonna use this power more, and it was nice to see that Harutora's father were actually okay with it. But to me, it was like kind of confusing, because he said if only only if Harutora operates it. So I'm thinking that maybe that Harutora could become the ogre itself, or as long as like Harutora is around Toji, then he can use the powers, with no problem. But hopefully, they explain that more. But back to our first demon that they were dealing with, it was like making these blue energy dragons that were like trying to break out this barrier. And at first, you know, it was kind of working, but we had three of the divine generals around, and I don't know the name of that female. I don't think they had said her name, but it was cool when what's the name, the Ogre Eater, when he was using those like mirrors to increase his firepower, and then when he used all four and made this like rainbow kind of looking flame. Now that right there was awesome. Now I don't know how they had stopped the demon, because after it like managed to break through, and what's the name, Renji, or no, Reiji, when he used those four mirrors like to attack at once as the dragons that were like breaking out, I think that right there was the last we saw. So I have no idea how they, you know, stopped that demon after that, because we didn't see anymore. But we did see Mayachi. We saw him and his many, you know, dagger looking weapons, and that girl used like some talismans. So I'm definitely wondering like what would the other generals, you know, bring to offer, because so far we have seen 5 of them, and I believe that there's 12. I could be wrong about that, but I do think that we have like a few more to see. Now back to Harutora and Natsume that were dealing with this demon. I had no idea that it got to this size. I don't even know how it got so big, but that thing was huge. Like, it was so big that not even Hokuto could like wrap around it, and even she was like having problems with it. But then at one point it got really good when she like bit his neck, and you just saw all this blood coming out. I definitely was not expecting that that to happen. But then we have Toji, who actually got on another one of Natsume familiars. I believe his name was Yukikaze. It was this beautiful white horse. And Tenma, he actually had Harutora's staff, and he came out there. And I'm glad that these people are not going to be with around Toji, because he definitely needs his friend. He should not be alone, especially when he like has these powers that he now wants to use, but for, you know, a much better use. But Tenma, he actually had Harutora's staff, and he left it to Toji to actually give it to Harutora. And then when he finally arrived, we see that he was slowly changing into his ogre form, and I thought that right there was like pretty freaking cool. And maybe this is what Haruto's father meant about operating it, because he actually transferred the power of the ogre to the staff, which I had no idea would be possible. So that right there really surprised me, but I was so glad to see that. Because once the power, you know, was transferred, it looked so freaking cool. Especially when he threw it, and then you just see Harutora, you know, absorbing the power to make it his own. And I thought, you know, that right there might be enough, because Harutora and Toji, they actually do seem like a dream team, you know, come true. But once he threw the staff and actually impaled the demon, I really thought that was it. But this thing still had a lot of fight in it. And that's when it came, like, that's when Natsume came in, because she had used like all these talisman and spell, and it basically, you know, made this black hole that absorbed the demon in. And I was worried at first that, you know, Harutora's staff would be lost, because as we all know, it wasn't impaled inside the demon. But luckily we saw that it did fall to the ground, you know, and it's fine. Now here where the episode, you know, really gets interesting, because at the end we have Reiji, who was watching them, and he was commenting about you know, what they did. And to me, I have a feeling that maybe Dairenji, who became a demon in the series, you know, 2 years ago, I have a feeling that it's possible that he's living inside of Toji. Now that might sound weird, but we have all seen, you know, his ogre form, and I think when they showed the shadow of Dairenji, he also had like a blue flame eye. So I believe that it's possible that the ogre that Dairenji, you know, turned to could be living inside Toji, and maybe that right there will make a feud between Reiji and Toji, because, you know, he could want the ogre, because we learned that Toji and Reiji, they're like very similar. because Reggie has taken in many demons, but like rather than killing them, he takes their power and use it for his own. So I'm hoping that like Toji will do the same, but maybe his one ogre could be powerful, like way more powerful than all the ogres that Reggie has absorbed like over the years. But at least that's right there what I think. But I would love to hear what you guys think about that, about my little theory. But then we have Ultimo, who was pretty much a badass here in this episode because he appeared behind Reggie, and we actually got like a bit of their past. And I was so hoping, well, I am hoping actually, that we will get like a flashback of some sort, because it seems that like those two go far back, and apparently Reggie could tell 90% of the times when he was blushing. I mean, bluffing, but there were 10% of the times when he couldn't tell, you know, and he had to believe it, because Ultimo was saying how he put all these, you know, spells on him, because there was no way that he was gonna let him hurt a student, so he had to spend his time, you know, getting out these spells that they put on him. And then we have Jinchiro that actually came back, and to me it was kind of weird what he said, because he said that Mutobe actually had a suicide spell on him all this time, and to me, you know, that was just so stupid, and basically, you know, it was a coward's way out for him. So that part right there, I did not like at all. I wanted him to get what was coming to him. I wanted to see their fight. I didn't want him to take some coward way out and to end his life like that. So that right there, you know, hits like Mutobe's character. Even though I found what he was doing pretty interesting, like the way that he took himself out, that right there I did not like at all. But I did find it pretty amusing when Reggie and Ultimo, even though, you know, those two had a serious moment, they were actually agreeing with one another when it came to putting down Jinchiro. So that right there definitely made me laugh a lot. And at the end of the episode, we actually see that Hirata, who we thought to be a good guy, is actually evil. So I'm starting to think that like maybe most of these, you know, investigators are basically, you know, not to be trustworthy. But then we have what's his name, Doma. He actually appeared because he had wanted to get part of the demon, you know, so that it could be revived, I guess. But it was gone without a trace thanks to Natsume. And the way like the characters reacted, especially Kon and Natsume, I think Kon knows something more, but Natsume definitely, you know, has this bad vibe, and maybe she actually knows more about this guy than she's like lets on. But it was like definitely weird how the animation was like doing it. It was like this guy was so threatful that he was basically, you know, had them like paralyzed with fear. And it was also interesting to see, you know, during a Kon fight with that demon, she was kind of like phasing out as well. So I'm thinking that if Kon dies, can she come back, or will she be gone for good? Because to me, it kind of gave me that vibe that it's possible that we could lose Kon, you know, at some point. But like I said, this episode, it was really good. The ending, it was definitely a shocker, and this episode had a lot of action scenes, but it also has some good comedy as well. So I enjoyed the episode quite a bit. I give this episode a great rating, and hopefully you all enjoyed it. Hopefully you all have enjoyed this review. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. But as always, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you all next time.